Principles of sports nutrition.
As one of several members of a quality control subcommittee selected by the Canadian Health Food Association about a decade ago, I was committed to the development of a sound quality assurance program. I use large doses of vitamin supplements myself, so I want a system that protects me and my family from any risk of contamination. Plus, I'm a competitive athlete, and I subject myself to a whole variety of testing procedures, which, if I pollute myself or contaminate myself with a substance that, without my knowledge, is in a vitamin product or protein, then I put myself at risk for testing positive in my own ignorance. Therefore, it is my responsibility to know that the products that I am using are clean. But first, let's get some context here. Canada has one of the best enforced regulatory models in the world regarding the reliable manufacture of contaminant-free dietary supplements in Canada, known as NHPs, or natural health products. Regarding mainstream products such as vitamin C or the element magnesium, there's virtually no risk to the consumer because of the scrutiny and detection standards and process that vitamins in Canada go through when they're being manufactured. It's almost impossible for a dietary supplement to hit the market in a capsule or tablet or powder form and represent a risk or threat of safety to a child or to anybody for that matter. Regarding athletes, there is an issue with contamination, but this is almost always associated with sources in Europe or the United States, where the degree of regulatory control and the enforcement of the GMP standards is an issue. But this is not an issue in Canada. Now, what is it that they're finding if there is an issue of contamination? Well, it's principally prohormones that some of the shady companies in the US or Europe are actually hiding in the supplements, giving that athlete the edge, in many cases without the athlete even knowing it. Or the athletes do know it and take the benefits directly and then plead ignorance. When we look at the research data, we'll find that the vast majority of contaminated supplements are in this area of prohormone contamination. Things like DHEA and andro and various analogs of testosterone and steroids that are actually mixed in with various supplements as they're advocated in muscle magazines or on the internet for whatever it is that they're promoting. In fact, some of the claims are so ridiculous that even if you were fully loaded and taking steroids and growth hormone and every single doping agent that's available, you couldn't come close to reaching the performance that is advocated in some of these ridiculous ads. But it's easy to understand why athletes are confused and undecided about supplements, or even convinced not to use them. There are forces working against us that are trying to convince us that dietary supplements have no value, that they're toxic, they can cause damage, and that they're a complete waste of time and energy. And there are thousands of coaches that coach hundreds of thousands of athletes, and they are programmed and misaligned in their thinking, and they're led to believe that this is the truth, and it is the farthest thing from the truth. On the one hand, you've got the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, and the CCES, the Canadian Centre for Ethics in Sport. These are big organizations. You've got them warning athletic associations, athletes and coaches across Canada about supplement contamination. Fear is their primary weapon. In this case, it is fear of testing positive. Yet in Canada, such fear has little or no basis in reality. Thousands of athletes competing for Canada and every other country are using supplements in spite of what you might hear otherwise, and they are simply not testing positive for any banned substance as a result. The downside of this fear-mongering is that thousands of athletes who are not using supplements still continue to believe the fallacy that food alone is sufficient to meet their training demands, and they end up deficient and suffering with injuries and deficiency issues that could otherwise be avoided. Unfortunately, Organizations like the IOC and the CCES also believe that all sports nutrition supplements manufactured by the health food industry are unreliable and inadequately regulated, and they are absolutely, totally without any position of reality. They emphasize that the products lack peer-reviewed scientific evidence to validate any performance claim made about them. And again, poppycock, there's tons of evidence. Just go to the International Society of Sports Nutrition and look at the evidence, look at the research, thousands of research papers coming out of hundreds of universities in the States, in Europe, Australia, all over the world, proving the efficacy, the safety, the value of using dietary supplements. In fact, sports nutrition is now being taught in universities all over the world as part of a graduate program and undergraduate program that people can choose as an elective to enhance their potential, to inspire athletes and help them gain more confidence in themselves. Eating whole food, taking dietary supplements, training correctly, and living with passion for health and life, not just performance, not just winning. I think that's the big difference.